Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped.com. See the podcast description for a special money off code.
Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. I am Sam, talking to you again this week. Joining me, my partner in crime, my friend, it's Matt.
Hey you mate, last night's result has saved a little bit of the misery, hasn't it?
I was worried it wasn't going to. We went 2-0 up and I was like, oh, thank goodness for that. Tomorrow, this is going to be so much easier. And then we just got back to 2-2 and I was like, you're killing me. You are literally making my life so difficult to do a podcast talking about you, Tottenham Hotspur. Why are you so cruel? And then, of course, it goes to penalties. And, of course, I put in our group chat, I hate penalties. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. We win. I was like, yay, I love penalties. Yay.
See, yeah. I couldn't watch it. I was... Actually, no, I wasn't watching a stream. I was maybe imagining watching a stream.
Yes,
but I couldn't. I had to turn that imaginary stream off that I imagined that I was watching.
Yeah.
Especially when it went to 2-2, and I was like, I can't. I just can't. I can't. And so I just thought, let's just kind of just hopefully hear from somebody that it's all going well or it's all going badly.
And then when you said penalties,
yeah, I was like,
oh,
we lost.
Then I was like, oh no, they're still happening. It's like I'm literally just I can't stand them. I mean. I think Wolves went first, scored, and then Kane buries his.
As you
night
do.
Is dark, water's wet. Kane scores a penalty, but the funny thing is like we'd subbed on Reguilon in like the 97th minute. Now I don't know whether perhaps in training when they do penalties, Reguilon basically is like some sort of master at it and they thought, oh, quick, throw him on, it's going to be a penalty shootout. But the minute that happened, I'm like, well, this isn't going to go well.
Yeah.
And that brings us quite nicely to this week's feature from Matt. Is it a new feature when it's the third week?
It's newish.
Well, we got like 146 episodes, so 3 episodes of it. I mean, yeah, that's new.
Yeah.
That's new. 100 odd, yeah, that's new. All right, so Matt's new feature, everybody, here it is. He's got balls!
So it's a new feature. So I was trying to make it sort of Spurs related, obviously because it's the Spurs podcast, so that helps, doesn't it? But this, in a way, is Spurs related because as Spurs fans, it's something we can all really laugh at. So my He's Got Balls this weekend this week has got to be the weekend's game between West Ham and Man United and Mark Noble.
Okay, and Matt, I don't know what happened here. Perhaps you would like to tell me the story.
Look, do you know what? Me and Seb were at the game and the Spurs game, and obviously this game was on just before ours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The West Ham Man United game. So we got to the stadium early and we was watching it with all the Spurs fans. And they go 2-1 down. Last minute of the game, they get a penalty. Oh, let's bring on Mark Noble. Let's substitute him on to take the penalty. And honestly, the cheer, I think it was the only cheer from the home fans in the whole evening. Obviously, we tried to talk about the actual Chelsea game as little as we can.
Yeah.
But, brilliant. I mean, look, he's got balls for coming on just to take the penalty, but... just fantastic.
No,
the
reality is I did know about. Now the reason why I knew about this because I wasn't watching any games at all at the weekend, including Tottenham Chelsea. I'm going to put my hand up right now. I couldn't watch it. I didn't watch it, and so the whole day I was away from football. I was doing stuff around my house, but I got a message from my brother. Now my brother hates Mark Noble, and I'm not quite sure why. Like there's certain players you just don't like. You can't warm to them, regardless of who they play for. For whatever reason, there is just like a burning hatred from him to this guy that is just like totally there's no rational reason for it at all. And I don't think he could give me a reason, but he just hates him. Like, anytime West Ham play us, is like, every message from me is, oh, it's that fucking no, hope someone breaks his legs. I'm like, okay, whoa, chill. So this to him was like, you know, Christmas. He was so over the moon. And my message, I mean, I had a message from him in like a level of detail that can only be described by someone who's experiencing pure joy and elation. You know, like, you can almost tell like he's gasping for air between laughing in this message. It's like, and then he took the penalty and he missed it. You know, it's like gone. De Gea's not saved the penalty in the Premier League for like 3 years. Mark Noble, and of course, because of modern football, there's loads and loads of West Ham fans in the crowd filming it, and they brought on Noble. He doesn't miss. Oh, he missed. I mean, it is so entertaining. It's brilliant.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah. So, Mark Noble, you do indeed have balls, sir, for stepping up in that situation. I don't think you're going to do it again.
And thanks for the laugh as well.
Yeah. We all needed that over here. Yeah, so that really picked us up. Thank you. Speaking of people with balls, this show, as everyone will know by now, is sponsored by Manscaped.com. Seamless plug there. Manscaped.com sell various products to improve the genitalia health of men. So ladies, if you're listening, and we do have a growing female audience, so hello, thank you for listening. Our next sponsors will be something more neutral, I promise. I'll try anyway. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? If someone pays us money, they're sponsoring the show. I don't care who it is. Hey, this week, everybody, it's weapons to Saudi Arabia. Zero ethics. How much money? Yeah, done. I'll promote you.
And also, to be fair as well, if we do get guys that sell weapons to Saudi Arabia, I think we're going to probably be able to retire.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And also, I'd be interested what the free products are they send us.
Yeah.
And just what kind of list we'd be put on and how quickly we'd be arrested.
Yeah.
But,
and what kind of warnings are on the packaging.
Yeah. Because the warnings on the packages from Manscaped were kind of like, you know, heavy duty. You know, you're generally shaving around an area that should only ever be nice to. Yes. But yeah, there's an array of products on Manscaped.com, and the most recent product, which I've still not sent you, sorry, I've not had a chance.
Don't worry.
Is the Weed Whacker. Now, the Weed Whacker for men who are, dare I say, our age, around that 40 mark. We're not going to talk about being higher than that or slightly under. It's around that mark. Nose hair, ear hair. This thing clears it out. I am not a, what would they call it? Kind of a picture of men's grooming, let's put it that way. I'm kind of like a scruffy beard kind of guy. I'm not the kind of chiseled look, you know, the designer stubble as I call it, or the, I don't know what you call them, the hipster beards, where basically they look like they've moisturised their beard on a daily basis. That's not me. That's not me at all. I look more like a sailor that's just fallen off of a boat after 6 months at sea kind of look.
With all these products, though, Sam, there's a chance to turn this all around, you know?
Well, definitely. I mean, the whole kind of like ballsack wipes things, they're kind of interesting and you know, a bit tingly in the morning. But yeah, no, it's some great stuff there. And I did use the Weed Whacker. I did give it a go because up to this point I've been kind of trying to ignore the aging gracefully thing. It worked great. It was brilliant, and it was so much easier than trying to use like my shaver to get a nostril. You know, basically like contorting your nose to try and get the hair that's dangling out of it. But anyway, yeah, so it works. Go on there. There's a podcast called SN Pod. You go on, you get a discount, you get free shipping in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the UK. Check their website. Any region that's listed on there as the products are available, our code will work. So go to www.manscaped.com. All of the links and the code, etc., will be in the podcast description wherever you're listening. By the way, a few people are now listening on YouTube, so hello to those people since we put the podcast on there. Yeah. There you go. That's a nice promo. I'm literally using the product and it works. I don't think I can do more than that.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you say, like you put that SM pod code in, it gets you 20% off on free shipping. So it's a great little discount.
It is, yeah. Based on sort of sales numbers, I don't know how much longer we're going to be sponsored by them. But if you are a small business owner and you'd like your business sponsoring us and we're promoting it every week, drop me a message. sam@spursnews.co.uk. Let's help support small businesses too. Get in touch. We're easily bribed. I mean, literally a box of donuts and you'd probably get on the air next week. That's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say though, unless that small company is selling weapons of mass destruction, that is a little caveat that we can't accept those.
yeah, unless the money is really good. Yeah, my ethics are easily bought. Moving on then from talking about genitalia and the health of said genitalia, the Chelsea game. I do not overly want to dwell on this because, let's face it, it's depressing. One thing I'd say is obviously just yourself and Seb went, your season ticket holders. Seb had a very good record up to now. Sadly, Chelsea ended that. How is Seb doing? I had a genuine concern for the young man after the game because I've been there when I was younger and watched my team get trounced. It's a bit crap. So is he all right?
Yeah, he was fine. So the first half, I don't know if you watched it on telly, but the first half we actually were quite competitive. It was a very even game.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that bringing on Kante on the second half, people saying, "Oh, you can't just say that was what made the difference. We seem to drop back." And I know there's different reasons.
I think it does make a difference.
But I personally did, because from where we were sitting, you could just see how he was just doing what Kante does. Getting the ball, retaining the ball, spreading it out, and they just were a different side in the second half.
Yeah.
But as far as Seb was, he was fine. He was he's got a wise little head on his little shoulders.
Good.
And he was going, "It was Chelsea, Dad." He said, I didn't expect anything from the Chelsea game anyway, and it's one of them games, I know. And he said it's different if it was if we'd been Norwich, he said, and we'd lost 3-0, I'd have been really upset. He said, but it is Chelsea, and I was like, yeah, mate, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, well, technically they are the best team in Europe right now.
Yeah, well, there you go. And look, don't get me wrong, you're going to be down after losing a game, whoever it's against. Yeah. But sometimes you just have to give it a dose of reality, don't you? And like you say, they're the Champions League winners, and it was never going to be easy, and that's why I think we enjoyed the Man City game so much, because we had the same expectation, I think, with the Man City game, that they're going to trounce us, and then when we beat them 1-0, it was such elation because it's not what we expected. So it would have been the same with Chelsea. We'd have got a result, and it would have been mental, but the reality is that 8 times out of 10 we either draw or lose to these teams.
I think the reality with Chelsea right now, and I think perhaps looking at the Tottenham fan reaction, I could be wrong, but I think the issue is a few years ago, and it was only a few years ago, 3, 4 maybe, we were very competitive against Chelsea and against all these teams. Like you went into the games, and you and I both know, we went into those games thinking we could win this, home or away. And Chelsea, for example, I mean, we were winning those games as much as we were losing or drawing against them. And I think fans seeing the way in the second half they literally just went up a gear. Do you know what I mean? It's like they brought on Kante and they had another level that we just don't have.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of fans just felt absolutely gutted. It was like everyone knows that we've gone backwards. Everyone knows that. The other clubs have progressed. But that was like an awful illustration of it. Like live. It's just kind of like, here you go. Here is a really good example of where you are now. So let's not dwell on it too much. I mean, we lost the game 3-0. I mean, it's pretty crap. And it's 2 3-0 defeats in the league on the bounce after winning 3 games 1-0.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of nervous for the North London derby now.
Yeah, do you know? It's interesting because and I've said it, I was talking on our little messenger group about people calling for Nuno to be sacked, which I find absolutely ridiculous after 5 games. And I know it's a conversation that you and I have had in the past about, we live in a world at the moment, a very instant gratification world, don't we?
Yeah,
where everyone wants things instantly. So it's not like back in the 80s when Alex Ferguson will be given 5 years and he's almost going to get sacked after 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
because he nearly loses a cup game. And look at that guy, arguably the best manager in the history of football, and the
Yeah.
amount of trophies he won. So I get it that we're in a different era now, but I still think that calling for Nuno to be sacked after a short period of time is absolutely moronic for people to think that. And I don't care if anyone's listening that wants him to be sacked. I don't mind. I don't care that I'm saying, making that comment, because I think it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It's such he after the third game that we won against Watford. It wasn't like he was riding his wave and going, "Oh, everything's amazing." We've said this before. You listen to the post-match interview with him. He said there's a lot to fix. So it was like those 3 games were just hiding, papering over the cracks. This guy's got a lot to do, and he needs to be given the time. He needs to be given the time. So as much as you get a lot of it's reactionary. I understand that. So we lost 3-0. There's a lot of reaction that maybe people will wake up in the morning and think, oh, maybe I was a bit too over the top with that. So I get that people react and put on social media things that they're thinking in the moment, but I can't work it out. I mean, even yesterday, mate. After the penalty shootout. So okay, we go 2-0 up, right, and then they get the 2 goals back, and it's 2-2, and we win on penalties, right? Now, you look at it. So, for example, look at I can't think of one off the top of my head, but can you imagine like a massive Champions League game? I know this was only a Carabao Cup game. A massive Champions League game, that happens, the team win, imagine Spurs are the team that win the penalties. That the fans of that team are going to be going mental, aren't they? You know, have won the Champions. They don't care that they went 2-0 up and then went to 2-2. They've won the game. Now, I appreciate this is only a Carabao Cup game, third or fourth round. It's a very, very small game. But straight after we win the penalty shootout, you post on Facebook that we've won the penalties. First comment, oh look, we've found a team that's worse than us at penalties. I don't know where to go with that, you know. like we beat Chelsea last season on penalties. A couple of seasons ago, I was at Milton Keynes Dons when we beat Watford on penalties. Like, how do you get these people out of this negativity and make them understand that this is not a This isn't. You can't have instant gratification. You cannot win 38 games out of 38 in the league and win every cup game. No team does it. Not even Man City. No. Football is all about winning and losing, and you just hope to win more games than you lose. And I just can't. It's driving me nuts how people are just getting so overly negative all the time. You know.
The issue is around the instant gratification things and the managerial kind of it's not worth sacking is because you look at a club like Chelsea. For example, Chelsea consistently challenge and win trophies. They've done that since Roman Abramovich came along.
They're the two words you said, though, Roman Abramovich, mate. That's the two words that are missing from us.
But this is the point I'm going to make, is that people look at that now, and for whatever reason, they seem to forget the financial side of it. All they see is that Chelsea consistently challenge and win trophies, and the minute it goes wrong, they sack someone and hire somebody else. And so it's like ingrained in your brain now that to be successful, that's how you operate. Man City, for example, up until Pep Guardiola stayed around, they chopped and changed quite a bit as well. But they were they were only consistently challenging and winning stuff after the massive investment they had. Manchester United is a club that is probably one of the richest in the world. It is a club that, under Sir Alex Ferguson, was winning, challenging every single season. In the last few years, compared to other teams in the league domestically, they have not been a title challenger. How long? I don't know how long it's been since Man United won the title. I know probably over the last 5-6 years, even when they finished second, it's been so far second. It's they've not
won a trophy in 4 years, sir.
Okay, so that's Manchester United, the club that most of us our age especially think of as the pinnacle of the English club and everything like that. Liverpool, prior to winning the league a couple of seasons ago, hadn't won the league in 2 decades. I can't remember how long it was, but they haven't won the league in a long, long time. So it's like a strange thing that people have in their brains because of Chelsea, because of Man City, that if you don't win, like you have a run of bad games, change the manager. It's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with the blank checkbook. Now, don't get me wrong, they are hiring the very best. So when they hire a new manager, they are genuinely going out and getting the best they can get. Chelsea hired Lampard, not because he was the best they could get, but because they knew they had a transfer ban and they just wanted someone to work with the young players. They basically wrote off a season. And then the minute that finished, and the minute they were allowed to buy players again, they gave him, 10 games? Sacked him and replaced him.
And that's a legend of the club.
And that's a legend of their club. But because people see that, they automatically assume it's success. That is not the reason for the success. The blank checkbook is. Thomas Tuchel was a fantastic coach. He is very, very good, and he is getting the best out of those players. But he would not have that squad to work with at Chelsea if not for Roman Abramovich. Pep Guardiola is a fantastic coach of a great group of players, but he wouldn't have them if not for the money invested. You take those exact coaches with all of their methods, even their own coaching teams allow them, and go put them in charge of Watford and Norwich, they're not winning the title. Because they don't have the budgets to do it. They don't have the players at their disposal. And so people who look at that and they're shouting at us like, sack Nuno, are not actually accepting the position of our club and are comparing them to those two. This is just my opinion anyway. I think that the way those two clubs operate has changed the way people think about managers and how they should be treated and the time given. But yeah, like I said, that's just my opinion.
No, I completely understand. I completely get that, and I think you're completely right. And also, I'd just like to add as well. I feel like, and funny enough, I was having this conversation with Seb afterwards after the Chelsea game, because you're just kind of looking at everything, aren't you? And that.
Yeah.
Before the game, they've changed it around. They always normally do it, but they've kind of updated the video, and they'll just show some great bits. So they'll show like that Ginola goal against Barnsley, some great goals. I know the Villa goal won us a trophy, but probably there was the Defoe goal there. But probably out of the 30 or 40 goals that are shown, they show some saves as well, some Lloris saves, and by other goalkeepers. And there's probably about 50 or 60 moments in there, and probably about one or two of them were moments that won us cups or won us trophies.
Yeah.
But every moment you could see that you could hear the fans, and they would pan to the fans, and just that release of absolute mental excitement. The biggest word, the joy of it, of watching your team smash a goal in, like the Man City game earlier in the season when Sonny scored. 60,000 of us just go absolutely bananas. I pick Seb up, I'm throwing him in the air. Everyone's losing the plot, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, probably social media probably isn't the place to look for getting a sort of a reading of people's like supporters' moods, because it's just one thing. Although saying that, I will say that yes, I'm part of a few football ticket sellers groups, and people are desperate for the Wolves game. People are desperate for all the games. So although you see loads of people on social media going, "Oh, this is crap, I can't. Why are we supporting them? They're just Spursy," all that stuff. There are fans that want to go, that want to support the club, that want to get them, raise them up, So I'm glad I can see that. But I just feel like the joy is just missing from so many fans. And, one or two defeats, rubbish defeats, don't get me wrong, but it's like the world's ending to some fans. It's like the end of the world. It's like, where's your joy just supporting the club? And just, I find it so frustrating, Sam. I really do. And it's just, I don't know how, again, I don't know, with social media, you're hearing, this is the thing probably that I struggle with, and probably you to an extent as well, because I know we're a similar generation. But you're constantly seeing comments and opinions of people all the time that you probably would never have seen years ago, before social media.
No, you wouldn't have. No.
And for me, my only kind of take from Spurs fans would be going to the game every week. So I'm there sitting next to fans who are happy, or excited, or I'm seeing the support there. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting bogged down in just the misery and direness of, sack him, sack Nuno, like he's crap, like 5 league games, I find it so frustrating, and I apologise for getting on my soapbox with this, but I feel like I needed to air it,
No, you carry on, mate. I'm with you. Just solidarity, brother. We shall move just to the Wolves game then, which we've already touched on anyway. We went 2-0 up. Ndombele scored a goal, a very well taken goal. I got to be honest with you, when he sort of charged down, powered through, and finished brilliantly, I thought, wow, that was this is why he should be in the team. And then he completely loses his man for their first goal and loses the ball for their second. And I go, that's why.
The best and the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually saw that. Some other bloke scored for us. I can't remember his name.
Oh, come on, Sam. Come on.
Nope.
Come on.
Nope.
Even a little
Dead
bit.
to me.
He's not dead to me.
Who got the other Tottenham goal?
Who got Ndombele?
Yeah,
okay.
You got the other one. Yeah, okay. You said it, not me.
Listen. Have you Sam, listen to me, man. Have you seen a picture that the Tottenham official page put on Facebook of him? I think it was him celebrating his goal, I presume. Have you seen it?
I assume he's celebrating himself and not the club. Yes.
No. He's really, really smiling, really happy, and like they're all cuddling each other. So
he just earned his goal bonus, didn't he? Yeah.
No, if you do see the picture, by the way, have a look.
I've seen a few. There's one of him celebrating the penalty shootout win. There you go. With Galini. Look, I've said this before, and I can't put my finger on it, but something's happened. Last season, genuinely, you could have told me a Harry Kane stat about how many times he goes to the toilet a day, and I'd have been like, yeah, that's a great one, number one. He just, the affection I had for him, because I watched him come through the academy. I watched him when he was out on loan at crappy clubs. I watched him develop. I watched him in the Europa League when he started scoring and everyone was making memes about a Harry Kane hitting the Premier League. I then watched him take the Premier League by storm and everyone said it would just be a 1-season wonder. I then watched him become a 2-season wonder, a 3-season wonder. I watched the guy become England captain. Literally, I've seen this kid go from being what looked like an Southend United in his future only as a teenager to being probably the best striker in the world, and my affection and love for the guy is unbound. And then he shit on us from a great height, and now I don't know how I feel. That's the reality. I don't know how I feel.
Okay, that's fair enough.
It's kind of like numb. It's kind of like, there's no rational thing to this. I don't know him. He owes me nothing. It's like I keep saying this to myself. It's like, why have I taken this so personally? But I have. I literally have taken it personally. I took the Danny Rose Sun interview personally, and I still to this day cannot tell you why. I wrote like a massive blog piece about Danny Rose when he left, where I tried to basically pour my heart out on it, and a few people replied along the lines of, "Oh, whoa, you did take that really personally, didn't you?" I was like, yeah, and I can't tell you why. To this day, I know it's because I felt like I supported him when no one else did. So then he betrayed me. It's like, but that's nuts. It's like, no, he didn't. He doesn't know me. It's not like he literally looked at a situation and went, "Ooh, this is going to disappoint Sam. Never mind, screw him." He had no idea. He's just doing what he thinks in the moment. Yeah. And Harry Kane did what he and his team thought were right in the moment. You didn't sit there thinking this is. Well, I mean, you might have thought Tottenham fans are going to be upset. But there's just so much that's gone on with that, and there's so much, and I'm kind of in this horrible situation where people tell me stuff because I stay connected with a lot of people because it helps us with the page and everything like that. I mean, we can talk through things, especially with transfers and stuff. We get quite great insight on things that's going on. But then, unfortunately, I get told some stuff some days I don't want to know. As a fan, it's like, do you know what? I'd rather have not have known that. Do you know what I mean? Sure, I think me and you have had this conversation because I post stuff in our chat and you've said to me like, do you know what? Don't. I'd rather not know.
Ignorant bliss, please.
Yeah, I'd rather not know about that. And there's just so much stuff in that I know that it's kind of like that's crap. I really don't like it, and I'm struggling. It's like I see him score now, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm really, really indifferent, and I'm hoping something changes over this season. Because I think the thing that's not helping is every game I've watched him play for us so far this season, he's not looked like he cares, to me. And it could just be that's my jaded views doing that, but the stats seem to back me up on that. That he's just not doing anything compared to what he's done in the past. So maybe over the season, maybe he's slow getting going because there's a delay, and once he gets flying, everything will seem normal again, and I'll feel different. But right now, sod him.
Fair enough.
This brings us quite beautifully, actually, talking about Harry Kane. We're going to now turn to a true club legend for a very special edition of Matt's Stats.
Welcome to Matt's Stats.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about true club legends, we can only be talking about one player, really, can't we?
Yeah.
It's Jimmy Greaves, who sadly passed away at the weekend, aged 81. Yeah. But you know, when it comes to stats, this guy, I mean, when I was collating all the stats, even I was like, I knew this guy was good, but wow, I didn't realise just how good, sir.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It is unbelievable. So, in 516 league games, he scored 357 goals. In 602 club appearances, he scored 422 goals. 422 goals in 602 club appearances. I mean, that just sounds insane, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So he obviously went through the youth set up at the time with Chelsea.
Yeah.
Before he even made his full team debut, so this is for the youth team, he scored 114 goals just for the youth team.
Yeah.
And then he made his debut, age 17, in 1957. Did you know who it was against?
Oh, is it against us?
It was against us, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's quite fun.
Yeah, it was, yeah. He scored in it, and it was a draw.
Yeah, of course he did, yeah.
It was a 1-1 draw, yeah. Now, he actually scored in that first full season with Chelsea. He scored 22 goals in 37 games.
At like 17, 18 years old?
Yeah, he was
mad.
But he was their club's top goal scorer that season.
Huh.
Now, what makes it even more insane is that Chelsea's manager at the time, Ted Drake, actually rested him for 6 weeks because he was worried that him scoring all these goals was going to start going to his head. So he stopped him playing for 6 weeks, and he still was the club's top goal scorer in his first season as a 17-year-old.
Right, can you imagine a manager doing that nowadays? Some academy kid comes through, takes the league by storm. He scored 20-odd league goals, and he goes, do you know what? I think he's getting a bit big for his boots, so I sent him back to the youth team for 6 weeks. The fans would burn the stadium down.
It's insane, isn't it?
Mad, yeah.
So in the 5 seasons that he was at Chelsea, he scored 132 goals in 169 games.
Wow.
He was the youngest player at 20 years and 290 days to reach a century of goals, a record that still hasn't been broken. And in his last season at Chelsea, he scored 41 goals in 40 games. It's insane, isn't it?
I know some people listening to this will be thinking, well, football was a very different game back then. But let me just establish something as well. Strikers are like a protected species now. They get a kick in the back and they go down, they get a free kick. Back when Jimmy Greaves was doing this, you basically, as a central defender, could murder a striker on the pitch and you might get booked.
Yeah.
The game was very different. And I know people are looking at this possibly thinking, oh, it's difficult to compare, but I mean, it's astonishing. The 41 in 40. I mean, that's mental.
It is absolutely insane. So Chelsea weren't the club that they are now, so they weren't able to keep hold of him. So AC Milan bought him for 80,000, I think it was at the time.
Yeah.
He won the Serie A title there, but he didn't. It wasn't much of a success. I don't know. I can't work out too much of the reason why it wasn't too much of a success, but I get the feeling that, especially in this country, there was like a very different culture. I mean, players used to smoke cigarettes at half time and drink beer and after game. It was it was completely different. And I think in Italy they were a little bit more progressed, I think, and I don't think he could kind of settle there. He still scored 9 goals in 14 games, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
But so just a little bit shy of a season he was there, and then he came back to England, and that's when we signed him.
Yep.
We signed him for £99,999. Do you know why, don't you?
Well, yeah, but tell
Yeah, so the reason why was Bill Nicholson didn't want to sign him for 100,000 because he didn't want him to have that pressure of being the first £100,000 player. So they just took the pound off just to kind of take that pressure.
It made all the difference.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. If we paid that extra pound, he would have been a flop.
Completely, yeah, absolutely. So he made his he's famous for scoring on his debuts, and he scored 3 on his debut for us, which was a hat trick against Blackpool.
Yeah.
On his debut, which isn't bad.
No.
He went on to score 266 goals for us, including 15 hat tricks. He scored in the 1962 FA Cup final win over Burnley, and a year later scored twice in our 5-1 Cup Winners' Cup triumph over Atletico Madrid.
Yep.
Now, a couple of interesting ones here. During his time at Chelsea and Spurs, he was the first division top scorer in 6 different seasons, an achievement that's never been matched.
No.
And also, he was his club's top scorer in 12 of the 14 seasons in the top flight.
Wow.
Now, this guy retired at 31.
Yeah, he did.
So for him to be his club's top scorer in 12 of 14 seasons just seems insane, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. Now, for England, it's mental as well. 44 goals in 57 appearances.
That's the thing that gets me. You hear the stats about top goal scorers for England and stuff, and I think he's like 4th on 44 goals. But he did it in like 50. I mean, that's insane when you think about it.
He scored 6 hat tricks for England, and that's
Isn't
more.
that a record?
Yep, no other England players got anywhere near that 6 hat tricks.
Yep.
Which is insane. It's a real. I know it's obviously something that's for anyone that was around at that time and anyone that's followed his or looked up his career since.
Yeah.
That he had a. I know, like I did mention about the culture of drinking and that, and he did. It was well documented that he had his issues, he had his demons when it comes to alcohol.
Yeah. And
I don't know whether this was part of it, but that 66 World Cup win.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, you look at the stats. The guy was the Ronaldo of our day, wasn't he? He was the English Cristiano Ronaldo. There was no doubt about it. So he would have played every game. Whether he would have scored a hat trick like Hurst did in the final, who knows? I probably would have scored more than 3, to be honest. But it's only something we can speculate on. But I think it was the quarterfinals against France, I think, where he was injured.
Yeah.
Now you talk about how people were allowed to batter other people and how it was all completely different. Yeah. This guy got raked down his shins by someone. I don't think the guy even got a yellow card for it.
No.
And he only realised that he was hurt when he pulled his sock down and just a turret of blood just poured out, and he actually needed 14 stitches on it, on the wound. This is unbelievable. He was fit to play the final, but obviously because Hurst had played the semi-final, he was picked, so he missed it.
Yeah. And
he was quoted as saying that, he went on the pitch when they won, and there was obviously joy because England had won the World Cup. But he said deep down, I couldn't not be hurt, Yeah. And you can see. I mean, it's who wouldn't be? I mean, it's the World Cup final. You would have been there. And obviously back in them days, they didn't have the subs that they did nowadays. So if it had been 2021, he probably would have got subbed on at some point.
Yeah.
But it must have just really hurt, and I don't know whether that kind of led to
I've seen a lot of interviews with him, and there was one with Parkinson, which I literally found on YouTube the other day after he'd passed, and he asked him quite directly. He says, you're after the '66 World Cup final, you're descent into alcoholism, and Jimmy corrected him, which is something that's quite interesting. He literally said that's not true. He said, did it play a part in depression and how I was feeling? Yes. He said, but I went and scored the winner in the cup final in 67. He said, it's hardly like my career took a plummet, nosedive. He said, but it was the 70s. He said, the 70s, me and George Best. He said, and, you know, we enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah,
and, And so, I mean, it's like, you could probably point to that as kind of like a trigger moment for him of things, obviously, you know, not going well or not going well after that. But then his stats kind of beyond that continued to be great into the 70s, and then obviously he retired. But yeah, I just like you. I'm kind of in awe, really. And you were so kind, mate. You were at the stadium, and you know that my hero as a Tottenham fan is Gary Mabbott. What you possibly don't know is my dad's hero is Jimmy Greaves as a Tottenham fan. So you sent me a video of my hero discussing inside the stadium my dad's hero. It meant the world to me. So thank you for that.
Oh, I knew you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it really did. That did mean the world to me, and it was just something special. But yeah, just, you know, you're regaling us with stats here, and I think people listening are probably just like, wow, you know, you read them, you've heard them, you were told how good he was. But I mean, me and you were talking before we started recording about how his goal scoring record, to try and give younger listeners an idea, is comparable to that of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, he's not far off.
Literally, Ronaldo's like a fraction ahead of him in his goals per game ratio. Ronaldo has played more games. You know, it's just insane. He retired at 31.
That's the thing. Like, Ronaldo's 36, and I think, like, you know, you look at. Obviously, I know, you know, I want this all to be about Jimmy Greaves, but you look at Ronaldo, and that guy has kept himself in such
immaculate.
Yeah, and even for today's standards. So going back to when Greaves was playing, I mean, they just
smoking and beer in it.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, that's the thing. If he'd have been a player now, it would have, you know, he would have probably scored far more. You know, with the pitch, the better pitches, the better way they look after players.
Not allowed to break their legs.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know?
It's a very, very different game.
Oh, completely. Do you know what's quite interesting as well? When I was looking up, obviously, all the stuff about Jimmy Greaves. So I went to school in Brentwood. Brentwood in Essex. That's where I went to secondary school, and there's a hospital there, Worley Hospital, that I think it's changed now. That might have even been knocked down. They've made it a house. It's most of these kind of hospitals are. Yeah. But I think he was playing for West Ham at the time, and there's a pub right near my school. And according to one of the articles I read, he went into his pub, had his last beer, and he said, "That's it, that's me then," and then just walked into to Worley Hospital for the rehab, and that was it. Wow. You know, he said, "That's it, I'm done with it." You know, so he turned it around, didn't he?
I mean, for me and you, we never got to watch him play, but me and you did get to watch Saint and Greavesy every week. I don't know if, like you, match of the day, Saint and Greavesy, this was essential viewing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, he's just such a massive part of our club's history and such a massive part of my footballing life growing up, my father's as well. So, well, may he rest now, and I hope, you know, all my thoughts are with his family, because it must be a pretty tough time. But yeah, mate, thanks for that. Jimmy Greaves, what a legend. I'll just finish with a Jimmy Greaves quote, which made me laugh. He said, "If you ask Chelsea fans, they'll tell you that I played my best football at Chelsea. If you ask Tottenham fans, they'll tell you I played my best football at Tottenham. If you ask West Ham fans, they'll tell you I played my best football at Chelsea or Tottenham."
We've probably given West Ham it, today. I love it. I've said this to you before. I don't hate West Ham, but they hate us so much. I just love winding them up when we can.
It is a beautiful thing. Yeah, no, definitely. It is time now for us to. Now, I've been told I'm brave this week for doing this. We do it every week, but yeah, apparently I'm brave. It's time to hand over to our social media for questions and topics from fans of the page.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
Do you feel brave doing stuff like that? I don't know if it's bravery. I mean,
if
possibly stupid.
I was going to say, if there's people calling for Nuno to be sacked, then.
Right, okay. I'll try and edit it for you. Get ready, stand ready. Okay, we're going to start at Instagram. The wonderful people of Instagram. We start with the Johnny Stark. Hey, John. Anyone else find Nuno's constant lip licking quite off-putting? Johnny, you are watching our manager far too closely. I've not noticed this. Have you noticed this?
No.
Right, Johnny, next time I see him, if I notice it and then I can't not see it now, that's your fault. I'm saying it right now. But no, I don't. Yeah, okay. Hey! Oh no. Darren Ward.3 says, I was, unfortunately, at the game this weekend, and for the majority of the game, Kane was playing from the left, with Son through the middle. I can't for the life of me understand the reasoning for this. Any thoughts on why we set up this way? Thanks. You were at the game. Did you notice that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, just you look, I don't want to. I know your thoughts on Kane, and I don't want to spend my time bashing him. No. But I just all I kind of noticed was him going deep quite a lot, and I don't know. I know
walking around.
Yeah, there's a lot to work on. I appreciate that, and there's a lot to work on with the team, a lot to work on with the psychology, a lot of the players. It just first, like if we'd have played the first half, if we played the second half like we played the first half, then I don't think we would have got walloped 3-0, and there wouldn't have been the criticism. Sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't, do they?
Yeah.
I think with Sonny as well. When Kane, the first game of the season when he wasn't playing against Man City, obviously Son was playing as the main striker, so maybe that was in the mind of Nuno when he was. When
I looked at our team, I looked at it as 4-4-2, a diamond with Son and Kane as a strike force. So one I've read, and again I'm holding my hands up. I didn't watch the game. I've not watched the highlight. I literally just needed to not watch it, if this makes sense. And so to read all of this stuff about him coming from the left and stuff like that, to me it's kind of like he was given a free role and Kane just kind of drifted to try and find space, and unfortunately to try and find that space he kept going deeper and deeper and deeper, or wider. So it's like in the first half, it kind of caught Chelsea off guard, and they brought Kante on, and that ended it.
Yeah,
it kind of like you just brought him on, and it just stopped Kane from being able to find space. And yeah, it's kind of like these tactical things. Nuno got out-fought, in my opinion, by Mr. Tuchel. I keep calling him Tommy Tickle. I think I'm going to stick with that.
I just think that a friendly name like that associated to Chelsea just doesn't work, does it?
No, all right.
Nothing friendly about that club, is there?
Yeah, Tommy Child Tickle. No, wait, no, stop. No.
Cut that one out, sir.
I tried to make it PG for 2 weeks in a row and I failed again. Right. Diasporian1 says, why do you think Winks remains at Spurs? I know he loves the club, but he could be probably starting week in, week out for a team like Southampton, etc. It's a great point. Especially when you consider how large numbers of our fan base just give him crap constantly, you do have to wonder why not go somewhere fresh, start, play every week. You're right. Club Southampton, Newcastle, there's a whole host of clubs, probably from in the league table last season, 7th place down, would have him and play him every week, and he'd look great. I think there's two factors to it. One, Winks does love the club and does want to be a success at Tottenham. I think it's very difficult for him to comprehend leaving. If you ever want to be interested in the psychology around transfers, sometimes read an interview with Andros Townsend in the Players' Tribune where he talks about when he basically made a lot of mistakes and Tottenham got rid of him because of that. Pochettino lost patience with him. And he reflects on that. But he reflects on the emotional aspect of the fact he came through the academy, he supported the club, his whole family were Tottenham fans, he made it to the first team, he made it to the England team, and then basically his behaviour led to him being sold, and it's like the psychological impact of that on him. I think Winks would probably be nervous, hesitant to leave the environment he knows, but also the club. You've got to remember about the homegrown players rule. In addition to homegrown players, where we can sign players trained in England, you also have to have club-trained players in your squad. And I know we've just promoted Skip, and there's a few others there, but you got to be over 21 to count in this. So literally, we've got Winks and Kane, and both of them were kind of, either one of them was trying to get out, and one of them potentially could have been sold in the summer, and the club couldn't do it because then we wouldn't meet our club trained quota. So it's a bizarre combination of that and the other. Next summer, Skip will qualify for it, so could we see Winks sold next summer? Possibly, unless, his form, improves this season, I think.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very thoughtful answer. Our next question is from someone who has his own theme tune.
He's a man, such a man, such a man. He's a real man's man.
Welcome, the Mountain Man, once again. Mountain Man says, what with Harry Kane's current form, do you think we should have cut our losses in the summer and moved him on? Can only look at what happened to Eriksen's form when he wanted to leave. We could have bought a couple of strong players with the money and evolved the squad, in my opinion. It's a difficult one. It's a great point, because of course Eriksen wanted to leave and we basically saw him be a shadow of his former self for about 18 months because of it. And if Kane for this entire season is a shadow of himself, I think, yeah, all of us could look at that and go, damn it, we should have let him go. But there's two issues to that. One, no one actually bid the price for him. There's Eriksen. We made a mistake. We were offered 100 million for Eriksen by Real Madrid, and we rejected it. And he then refused to sign a new deal because he should have gone. We should have accepted that. He should have gone, and we should have signed Jack Grealish. That was it. That was the summer it should have happened. But we didn't. That was a mistake. With Kane, I think if Man City had offered 150 million, I genuinely think we would have sold him. That's my opinion. I think if they paid the price, he would have gone.
Yeah, funny enough, I was talking to the guy sitting next to me at the Chelsea game, and I said that if it's exactly the same as what you said, if they had offered us the 150, I think we would have taken it, and I think it would have been the right thing to do to take it, and then like Mountain Man said,
everyone,
just get two or three quality players in, refresh the team. Exactly what would have been, it'd have made all the difference. And look, obviously we was having this conversation, I think we were 2-0 down at the time and watching Harry Kane looking very lacklustre, so obviously we're going to think that at the time. And if he got, like you say, if he goes on in the next 10 games, starts banging them in for fun again, maybe people will have a different opinion. But
definitely.
At the moment, it feels like that's what probably should have happened.
Yeah, no, and it's difficult to escape that, and it is going to feel that way. And the Eriksen situation's a great example. So yeah, no, good question, mate. At the moment, I think we're going to have to see how the season goes, but you're right. If the whole season is like this, then I think everyone's going to go, crap. This has not worked out. We now have a message gone into Instagram, and this person has his own theme tune as well.
Now it's time for a comment from Island Brother.
Now, look, anyone else wants their own theme tune, you're going to have to message in, alright? It's not, anyone can have them, not just these guys. Now, this is Island Brother. Now, Island Brother, I want to open this up, you see, because Laura runs our Instagram, the lovely Laura. She's always on Instagram and her other specialist site, which I'm told I'm no longer allowed to mention. And I've noticed that in this message that you sent in, because she took a screenshot to give me, so I had the message. You've tried to video call her. Matt, missed video chat from the Island Brother to Laura. Now, dude, you're trying to get the goods for free there. You gotta subscribe. I mean, I like it, but no, you gotta pay the money, dude. You gotta pay. She's got bills to pay. Anyway. Island Brother says, "Hey guys, ain't it fun being a Spurs fan?" Firstly, I'd like to say I haven't seen Mountain Man anywhere on the island. I think he was pulling a Harry Kane on us. Nice. Secondly, I have purchased something on manscaped.com, so let me take the opportunity to state that if you guys get sponsored by the world's leading below-the-waist grooming for women next year, I'm out. Nice. Ladyscaped.com. Oh, no one Google that.
Don't.
I've got no idea if that exists, but if it does, I bet it's not appropriate. Just hook up the Patreon, please. Yeah. A few people have actually said they'd be interested in that, which surprised me. So thank you for the support. Anyway, after the sad passing of Jimmy Greaves, I've come to the realisation that I don't want Harry to pass his tally. I didn't realise how done I was with the guy. Anyway, anyone else feel this way, or am I daft for feeling this way? No, I've just said a lot about that. I mean, if he scores goals for Spurs and Tottenham will benefit, then well, hey. I wish you both the best of health, and come on, you Spurs.
Cheers,
to be honest with you, I mean, you've kind of just said what I was saying, which is this weird feeling at the moment of. It's like not rational. It's like, no, I'm done. And with the Jimmy Greaves thing, I'm like you. If he was like on the verge of passing his record right now, I'd be like, no, you don't deserve it.
Yeah, sure.
But if Sonny was on the verge of it, I'd be over the moon. So it's a strange thing. Like last season, I was counting the goals, cannot wait for him to be our all-time scorer, club legend forever. And now I'm kind of like, git. I preferred Pavlyuchenko.
By the way, Sam, I've just Googled ladyscape.com and a domain's available, so there's a business opportunity there.
Oh, there is. Yeah, all right. We'll talk off air. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Right. So I can't believe you Googled that, you filthmonger. Moving over to Facebook, Stefan Cruz Alvarez says this was very brave. I think he means asking people's opinions. Considering current climate of fans, people very quick to jump on the Nuno out thing. It took Pochettino years to get the team where he wanted. I trust Nuno to get us where he needs to be, but the players do need to step up.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a fair statement. I mean, the Pochettino thing's interesting. I think might have been me and Dan, or it might have been me and you talking about it the other day, about it took until November of his first season in charge for him to actually settle on his best team and for us to get some results. And then they completely ran out of steam in March. In that first season, Pochettino says himself in his book, I thought I was going to get fired.
Yeah.
So, and people were calling for him to be sacked. I remember the conversation. Oh, he's out of his depth. He was at Southampton, and we're hearing it all again now. So, I'm not there yet. Daniel Beecroft, or Dirty Dan as he's known from the Spurs News, he definitely had ladyscape.com as in his browser history. Definitely. The guy's filth. You've all got that one mate who's got ridiculous amounts of porn and just sends you stuff that's completely inappropriate. That's Dan, Dirty Dan. Everyone, get to know him.
We just have to keep on the messenger group. We're like, no, this is only Spurs related stuff. Please stop.
Dan, stop. Yeah, and no, this lady's got Spurs on her boots. No, that doesn't count. That's not. No. So how does Nuno fix this? And he sends an image basically of the stats currently. None of these stats are good reading. No. 16th in the Premier League for goals scored, 16th in the league from goals from open play, 19th for our total shots, and I think there's only 20 teams in the league. Chances created 19th, expected goals bottom. We are bottom in expected goals. Touches in the opponent's box 15th. There was a stat someone shared the other day that there's something like 90% of the defenders in the league have touched the ball more than Harry Kane has in opposition boxes, which is crazy. How does he change it? Time. He needs time to change it. We can all get really frustrated and scream and shout and stamp our feet and hold our breath all we want, but it isn't a click of the fingers. Chelsea, Man City, clubs like that. Pep Guardiola came into Man City and in his first season won naff all. He won nothing. And we smashed them, in that season. And other teams rolled them over. And so he spent, I think someone said to me the other day, 330 million in the summer with another 60 million in the next window, and has consistently spent 100 million plus per window since. And they now win everything.
Yeah.
Is that because he's a tactical genius? Or is that because... And don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic coach who gets his teams playing great football. But when you're working with the world's best in every position, you'd kind of expect them to win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll go back to what I said earlier today, which is that he's, after that Watford win, when he won Manager of the Month, he said to us all... There's lots to work on here. So it's not like he's been building up everyone's expectations, is it? He's told how could he be more explicit about, guys, don't get carried away. There's a lot we need to work on here. Don't get carried away. And so, you know, is it a surprise that we've had a slump, you know?
Yeah, no, I get you. No, completely. Liam Hickey says, think you should do some commentary for one of Jimmy Greaves' goals in memory of him, as if we're all listening on radio. It would have been nice, Liam. Apologies, but we did the match stats as a dedication for him today. And I don't think anyone wants a Jimmy Greaves goal ruined by a hairy Asprostolian. So. Liam Hickey also says, for the 150th episode, and thanks for this, by the way, because I've been brainstorming for a week on this. How about you do a live commentary of the highlights from the Tottenham Ajax game? Pretend it's the final and we won, so we have something to cheer about. Be interesting whilst drinking.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Someone said to me the other day, because I was talking about our YouTube channel and I was talking about content for it beyond just obviously the podcast being on there and the a few videos from games and stuff from yourself. And someone actually said to me, you ought to do, because it'd be funny, alternate commentary to Tottenham highlights, as if you were watching it live, because it would be hilarious. And so I did think about that. I did think that it's funny, the Ajax game came to mind, because me and you could do the ultimate Tottenham fans. Oh, 1-0 already? God, we're so crap. We are so crap. Sack everyone. Yeah. What is Lucas Moura doing? The guy's just walking around. He's a waste of space. And then as he scores his hat-trick, he's the best player in the world. How could anyone ever not love him?
Do you know, it'll be everything, Sam, wouldn't it? It'll be like this horrible green kit. I hate this kit.
I know, yeah. We can literally lay it in there. So I did think that could be funny. So Liam, that is actually an idea. Possibly not for the 150 show, but just an idea for the YouTube content in general. It's something I'm considering. So I'll come back to you on that. The next question, holy hell. I am never going to be able to pronounce this in a million years, and I'm really sorry. Girish Girtusing. Mate, I've massacred that, and I'm really sorry. Let me know how to say it. He says, number one, Deli's time at the club is over. We should loan him to an inferior division to see what he can do. Number two, we should start playing 3-5-2 so we get the best out of our attacking fullbacks, Romero, Sanchez, Dyer as a back three. I think formations and tactics are very subjective. I think, how we play, I don't know about that. The Dele thing, I find that very difficult. I think Dele, who by the way is being very hard on himself currently, I think Dele's playing really well. Am I being wrong in that? What do you think?
Listen, mate, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, right? But that doesn't put everyone's opinions on equal footing, does it? And look, he's entitled to his opinion of Dele, but come on, mate, come on, really? I mean, look, he had a pretty poor time with Mourinho, which I put 80% of the blame on Mourinho's shoulders for what happened that season with him. But like you say, I was at the game, and the second half was pretty rubbish. But the first half, I think the thing is with Dele, you can see that he's putting the effort in. And there was a moment actually, I think it was in the first half, where there was a long ball knocked up to him and he controlled it, and it reminded me of some of the goals he scored. I think Toby set up a few.
Toby ping, control, and
this
finish.
Guy, look, there's no getting away from it. Dele has got a lot of ability. Still, you forget that he's only 25. He's been at the club for 6-7 years. He joined as an 18-year-old. He's trying. He's putting the effort in, and if he can get back to the level that he was under Poch's golden era.
Yeah,
the guy's phenomenal at times, you know. And
No,
like,
I agree.
what send him off to where? To what? Nottingham Forest? Yeah, here we go, Delhi. Go to Nottingham Forest. That's your level, mate.
No, that's crap.
Come on, man. Come on.
No. Remember your pressure points, calming thoughts.
Have you got some calming music, Sam, you can put?
Yeah. No. got a bit of death metal if you want to really go for it. Peter Gus Males says, do Tottenham play better without Kane? Currently, yes.
Currently, yes. Yes.
Currently, yes.
Yeah.
Currently, yes. And Tommy Jokinen, Jokinen. Would you say Jokinen?
Joking. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Why are we always rebuilding? Tommy asks. That is actually a great question. Because it does feel like that. It does feel like as Tottenham, it's constantly like the end of a cycle, even though the cycle wasn't necessarily that long.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean. Yeah, it does feel like that.
All clubs are constantly going through cycles, aren't they? You know, you just mentioned Man City. Man City went through a cycle where they was like sacking managers and they got Pep in, and they've gone through the cycle now. He's not going to be there forever, is he? He's still talking about leaving in a couple of years, you know. So there'll be another.
Well, he's talking about leaving because the fans aren't showing up. They got 34,000 for a Champions League game against RB Leipzig. Yeah, mental.
This is what this.
Bonkers.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Sam, because look, you look at that, right? That doesn't that just sum up? If you've got a team that just win things for fun, it gets boring, right? Isn't that just
Yeah.
you know? I talked about the absolutely just release of joy when we scored against them and beat them in a game that was only 3 points. You never won us anything more than 3 points, but for a Champions League game, and then afterwards, for the manager to beg the fans to come to the next Premier League game, to please come to the next Premier League game, a team that wins the Premier League for fun, you know, it just shows
it's scoring for fun. Like, they lost to us 1-0, and since then they've scored 5 in practically every game.
Yeah, and do you know what? I know they were playing very, very inferior opposition. No disrespect to Wickham, but they were playing very, very inferior opposition. Yeah. So it was yesterday morning. When I get up to Seb has to get up an hour earlier now because he started middle school, so he gets up.
Seb.
I know, but he's not taking it well. But he gets up, and because Layla's and my daughter's still asleep for sort of the next 45 minutes, he gets to watch what he wants, you know. So he puts all the football on. So he put the highlights on of all the Carabao Cup games from the evening before. Yeah. And look, I will caveat by saying that they were playing very, very inferior opposition, but all the goals. It was mumbles maybe from the crowd, you know. Yeah. And okay, it's only they're playing Wickham. They're not just scored against Bayern Munich in the Champions League semi-final, which would be a bit different. But I do think that they're just bored. It's like, and I'll go back to this.
Take it for granted, man.
Yeah, I'll go back to this. This is what I'll go back to, and this is the best way I feel like it describes how they are. It's like playing FIFA. What's one of the management games? Football Manager. Getting given 100 billion and winning everything, and just thinking after 3 or 4 seasons, this is boring. This is really boring. And there must be an element of that within fans.
Yeah, definitely, there must be. And I hope one day we're there.
yeah, I want to be bored.
I hope one day I look at a fixture and go, oh, playing Barcelona again in the Champions League final again. I'm going to go out for an Indian instead. Yeah, I don't get it. But I'll tell you what, it's quite interesting that happens. And I had the conversation recently about Brentford fans on the podcast. And just how I love it when a team comes up that haven't been in the Premier League before, because it reminds you how special it is to play in the Premier League every week. Like, seeing their fans, they could get smashed 5-0 next week, and you genuinely, they'd have a look on their face of like, we're in the Premier League getting hammered. Yeah. This is awesome. Yeah. and I love that. I like that. Just reminds me of how we as fans possibly take it for granted that we are a Premier League team every single season, like Everton and clubs like that. It's like we just take it for granted that we're in Europe even. Like Tottenham fans, we should have bombed this competition out. We should just send the kid. We don't have to be involved. It's European football. Yeah. They're like, out of 200 FA teams a season, 5-6 of them get to play in Europe. and we've done it consistently.
Do you remember
for a
Sam?
decade.
Do you remember when Martin Yeo got us into Europe? And we was
I
like
know.
buzzing about
we celebrated like mad. and now it's like, oh, it's beneath us. No, it's not. And here's the thing, right? Here's a really stupid thing. Trophy tallies can be added to throughout history. Like a team that's won the Premier League can win it 50 more times throughout history, and they've won it that many times. There can only ever be one first. Tottenham, the first team of the 20th century to win the League Cup double. No one. They can win the League Cup double every season, but they'll never be first. That was us.
Yep.
First British team to win a European trophy. Tottenham Hotspur. Other teams can win European... Well, not Arsenal. But other teams can win European trophies. They can win hundreds, but they'll never be first. Yep. And this is the first ever Europa Conference League. Let's go and win it. Let's be the first club to win it.
Yep.
And then no matter what happens in the future, we will always be the team that won it first. And that should be our attitude. And I don't get it. I don't get why the negativity. Look, we got to finish just mentioning this. North London derby this weekend. It's at their gaff, which is never a fun place to go. We've lost 2 games in the league in a row, 3-0, both London derbies. We won our first 3 games 1-0. If we lose 3 London derbies in a row, 3-0 now, I may be shouting Nuno out, just so you're aware. No, I'm dreading it. I'm dreading it because I hate playing them. Anyway, even when we were at our peak of our powers and I felt like we were going to win every single game of football, I hate playing them. It's a North London derby. I endure it because I just dread it. So I'm not looking forward to it, mate.
And what difference 2 weeks makes? Before the international break, we was top of the league, they were bottom. If they beat us, they're going to go above us.
Yeah, that's football. That's cool. That's why we said enjoy it while we could.
Exactly.
We enjoyed that international break.
We did. We say that you just have to enjoy, because there's highs and lows, isn't there, in football? So you just enjoy the highs and endure the lows. I think. And
endure the lows. Yeah. But that is everything for this week. Big thank you to everybody for listening, continuing to support us. We really appreciate it. We'll be back next week, hopefully, with everything crossed to celebrate a North London derby win. Until then, everybody, you take care.
Take care, mate.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.